that down, let's move on to this, shall we? One of the favorites, I'm not going to say by far the favorite, but one of the favorites going into Oscar season right now is The Brutalist. It's a movie that I thought was incredibly good. I got a little fatigued with it in the second half. It's a very, very long film, but it's a brilliantly made film. It's been winning some awards during the award season. It's going to pick up at least a couple at the Oscars. But right now, the director of the film, Brady Corbet, bringing up a couple of interesting things. One thing he's saying is that he did not get paid for The Brutalist. As a matter of fact, he said he didn't get paid for the last 2 films he did. And he's saying that it was very difficult to do 4 months of awards campaigning because he wasn't able to pick up any other work during that time. Variety wrote this. Brady Corbet, the BAFTA-winning filmmaker behind The Brutalist, has revealed that he and his wife and creative partner, Mona Fastvold, made, quote-unquote, $0 from their past 2 films, despite being a major Oscar contender this year, speaking on the WTF podcast with Mark Maron. Corbett described the financial strain that came with making an ambitious pick. This is the first time I've made any money in years, Corbett said, explaining that his first real paycheck in a long time came from directing 3 ads in Portugal. Both my partner and I made $0 on the last 2 films we made. Yes, actually 0. So we had to just live off of a paycheck from 3 years ago. And obviously the timing during an awards campaign and travel every 2 to 3 days was less than ideal, but it was an opportunity that landed in my lap and I jumped at it. All right. A couple of things a couple of interesting things. One, we're going to put off for a second. And that is the whole idea of that in this interview, he goes on to say that I was literally traveling, going everywhere. I couldn't take any other work for the last 4 months because the studios had me on this on this awards campaign, and I haven't been able to take other work, and they don't pay you for that. I want to talk about that in a second. The first thing I want to address is this startling claim he makes that he received $0 for making The Brutalist and $0 for making the film before that. And just to drive it home, he said, yes, $0. Like he drove that home. I don't know, Brady. I don't believe him at all. I don't either he is lying or he is the stupidest human being in existence. And he clearly ain't stupid because, man, that dude can direct because he directed the hell out of The Brutalist. He's already picked up some Best Director wins. He's considered one of the top favorites going into the Oscars for Best Director win. I don't believe for a second that he made $0 because who came to him and said, hey, can you take the next couple of months and come and direct this movie? Yeah, great. How much are you paying? Nothing. Okay, sure. I don't believe that happened for a second. Now, Jonathan and I were talking before the show started today. Mm-hmm. Said, hey, maybe it was one of those situations where he decided that I'm going to be the next Alec Guinness. I'm going to take almost nothing in exchange for back-end points. I'm going to be the next Robert Downey Jr. I'm going to take a subsidized upfront check in exchange for back-end points, and maybe this will be the next Oppenheimer, and I'm going to make $100 million off it, right. And then it didn't work out. In which case, that's your choice.
You took the back-end deal.
You decided to roll the dice on that, and if it had come up 7s, you would have been rich.
Right.
Didn't, whatever. But he's kind of making it sound like these stingy guys out there, they're not paying me anything to direct film. I don't believe for 1 second he didn't get paid a single dollar. And if he did, then that's his own damn fault for accepting the job for no money. That's one thing. On the side of him claiming that literally since this movie dropped, it's been all awards push. They've had me flying to locations every 2 to 3 days. That's literally 4 straight months of where he couldn't do any other work. And he didn't get paid for promoting and doing the Oscar pushes and the awards season push. I've said on this show before, Rob, that I think promoting your film is implied in accepting a contract to do a movie. Like, if you're going to do a movie, they're investing a lot of money in you. You should go out and promote the film. But that's with the understanding of doing the press day junket, a couple of the talk show appearances, things like that. Something like this, where literally for 4 months straight, you have to be available and on the road, because now you're trying to stump for the AFI Awards. Then you're trying to stump for the Critics' Choice Awards. And you're trying to stump for the Golden Globe Awards. And you're trying to stump for the New York Film Critics Society Awards. And then you're trying to stump for the SAGs and the WGAs and the DGAs and the Oscars. And you're out there constantly, to the point that you literally can't make any other money. You got to turn down jobs because you're going out to this. Is it out of bounds for me to say, I think at that point, hey, studio, if you really want to push your awards campaign, pay these people for their time? We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Indeed. Okay, so you just realized your business needed to hire somebody like yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. With Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for the right candidates so you can reach the best talent faster. And it works. Indeed's data shows that sponsored jobs get 45% more application than non-sponsored jobs. The thing I'm impressed most with Indeed is how fast it makes hiring. When I was looking to hire somebody for the John Campea Show, the process felt slow and overwhelming. I hate it. I wish I had used Indeed. And you want to know how fast Indeed is? In just the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed worldwide. So don't wait. Speed up your hiring now with Indeed. And for listeners of this show, you get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Campea. Just go to Indeed.com/Campea and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed here. That's Indeed.com/Campea. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. I don't know. How do you look at both of those issues? The one about him claiming having made no money, $0, he said, and the whole thing about having to stump for 4 months and not getting paid for it.
I am the wrong person to ask this to, because in my experience working at the indie level, most of the projects that I've ever worked on, I've been paid maybe a sustaining wage to pay my rent or my bills. I have never been afforded, to be honest, there was only one movie that I worked on that I made a lot of money on as a producer, which was Agent Cody Banks. That was a studio movie that was Agent Cody Banks and its sequel. But most things, like the thing I'm working on now, I've been working on this project since the end of 2023. I don't get paid.
And by the way, True Noir with starring Chris Carr and Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor.
Katie
himself,
Sackhoff.
Katie Sackhoff. David Strathairn.
But the thing is, it's our project.
Yeah, it's your project.
So
yes.
we crowdfunded it and we paid everybody to work on it, but I don't get a salary to work on it
because you are the de facto filmmaker in this,
yeah.
in this
and
case.
So
right.
so and that's been the case in a lot of the projects I've worked on. I've worked for a bare minimum of money. Even when I made Free Enterprise, I was the writer director. I made enough to pay my bills while we were in production, to basically pay my rent, but that's not making any money. You know, you're getting your expenses paid.
But you didn't make $0.
No, I didn't make $0, but I didn't also, there was nothing at the end of the project. I had to go get another job. Like there was nothing, you know, there's nothing that, and a lot of people don't understand that at the indie level, there's not a lot of money because it goes into the project. You have to put the money in the project. Like I could not have spent as much money on True Noir and hired actors of that were indie that people didn't know, but we went for a cast. I'd rather have paid for the cast that makes the project better, so the project is worth more. But like when you get to the awards thing, like 4 months, like you pointed out, who's paying you for that?
Right.
Now, actors, I was talking about this on the internet. Actors, let's say, who was it? It was
was it on the internet?
It was no. It was Maya Hawke was going on and talking about getting paid for social media and not getting paid enough. And I made the point. I said, look, if an actor, that people were getting cast because of how many social media followers they had, that's what she was complaining about. Now I would say that that's great, but actors, if they're going to promote your movie on their social media platforms, they get paid for that. They get paid for posts. Like if you want an actor to do a post for you, it's $5,000. It's $10,000. They've built up social media platforms that are an asset. They're a valuable asset, and they should get paid for that. If you, like you said, John, if A24 is going to pay Brady to go stump for this movie. That is outside the purview of what he was hired to do. Going to press days and doing junkets, that's one thing. But he didn't know he was going to get Oscar consideration. A24 should have that set aside in their Oscar campaign, knowing they need to pay people, because it is unfair to expect them to do otherwise. I totally believe that. I believe that he probably didn't make very much money making his movie. I don't think he made $0 like you. I don't believe it was zero. But he probably, trust me, a director wants to have as much money as he can to put into the movie, especially an A24 indie film. Everybody's like, that's been the bane of my existence. I mean,
Because what was the total budget of Brutalist? $10 million?
and look what they got for that
it was
money.
very low. I think it was 10 million.
It's like around there. So it's really, really
It's
small
all
budget.
up on the screen. And the more money he takes, the less he has to put on the screen. And I think that's why a lot of, indie directors or people who are creating their own projects aren't making a lot of money. But going on the awards circuit is way different. And that's something that A24 should build into their budget to promote a film. For an Oscar campaign, they take ads out in the trades, they spend all this money, and part of that should be to pay their actors and pay their director to go stump for the project.
Yeah, to me, that line gets crossed, Chris, when when the work you're asking the talent to do, go out and promote the film, literally is taking away from their ability to earn money and earn a living. Otherwise, a couple of days here and there, that's fine. But like booking off months of your time where you can't do anything else as a performer, especially, like what's your perception of that? How do you take that?
Oh, well, real quick, I do want to just say that it is Penguin that they have made a limited series, and Shogun is a regular series. I just wanted to put that in there.
So
real
those
quick
will be
for
in
STAG.
two different
They're two separate
categories.
categories.
Okay,
So those are
got
two
it.
different actors. So yes, Shogun's going to win. I just want to throw that out there real quick. Okay. I absolutely am of the mindset of you should be compensated for that. And I do think that this was a misquote / over exaggeration from him, because later on in the interview, he does say to Marin, I essentially worked for free for years. That's different than being paid $0.
Yeah.
So
Because he said, my partner and I made $0, and then he doubled down. He said, yes,
zero.
actually
Yeah.
zero.
And then,
But okay,
Does
that's
that
not
make it
After
actually
all
zero.
expenses, so
Yeah.
like it paid for your rent, it paid for your bills,
Right?
but then once you
And then
spent all
this.
that, you broke even.
well, and
Yeah.
for so many people, it doesn't even do all of that, right?
No,
From
yeah.
a performer standpoint, I'm going to pay my manager, I'm going to pay my agent. And then when you're at a certain caliber, you're paying your lawyer, you're
Right.
paying your publicist, you have a higher tax bracket, so more of that comes out. You're paying SAG dues that go into union fees. So at the end of the day, you're left with maybe like 60% of your check if you're lucky, depending on how large your team is. And it's really expensive to go around and promote this. I was so lucky on True Noir because Rob and our other producer, Mike, made sure that we all were taken care of.
Right.
We-
And we took care of you guys before us. I'll give you another example. I produced a horror film for Warner Brothers called The Hills Run Red. It took 3 years from the time we put it into development to the time it came out. For 2.5 of those years, we didn't make any money at all. It was all, we were spending our own money to create the project. And when we eventually got it to Warner Brothers and they agreed because of all the work we'd put in, they saw the trailer that we'd made, they had the script that we had written, Dave Scoury wrote, then they agreed to greenlight it. And if you were to break down, based on our fees that we made on the movie, how much, if you broke it down over the last 3 years, we essentially made $0. I mean, even though we got one paycheck, the 2 years we worked on the project before it became something, we never got compensated for. And if you were to break down all the work we did making these things, making the trailer, but that's what artistic endeavor is.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, on the one hand, everybody always has this perception that anybody that works on any movie anytime is super mega rich. But that's often not the case. We're being reminded of that a lot. And sometimes you're being asked to spend months of your life promoting for awards consideration, and you can't take other jobs while you're doing that, yet you don't get paid for that. I think it's something that needs to change. Maybe you don't. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.